all the way from Taiwan. Now we move on to our next news. Israel's military has approved the framework for a new offensive in the Gaza Strip, days after the Security Cabinet called for the seizure of Gaza City. Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir signed off on the operational plan, but Prime Minister Netanyahu has not provided a timetable for troops to enter the city. Gaza Civil Defense reports intensified airstrikes on residential neighborhoods, including Zaytun and Sabra, hitting homes and high-rise buildings. Hamas says a senior delegation is in Cairo for preliminary talks on a temporary truce amid warnings of widespread famine and humanitarian crisis. The announcement comes amid rising tensions and concerns about civilian casualties in the region. Now for this discussion, we are joined by Professor Gilad Hirschberger. He's a political and psychologist at Richmond University, Israel. Thank you, Professor, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now,
thank you.
Thank you. Now, what are the broader geopolitical implications of Israel's approved framework for new offensive in Gaza, particularly with no clear timeline for this execution?
I think the important point here to understand is exactly that there's no clear timeline and that things have been moving relatively slowly. So a few days have passed since the cabinet decided on the new offensive on Gaza City. At that time, there were disagreements between the Prime Minister and the Chief of Staff Zamir over the assault. And eventually now the IDF announced that it has its plan ready. But everything seems to be moving relatively slowly. On the ground, there have been some bombings, but nothing of the scale that would suggest a full assault on Gaza City. And in the meantime, we are hearing that in Cairo, there are some signs of perhaps renewed negotiations. And what that brings me to conclude is that what Netanyahu is probably trying to do is he's trying to use leverage and to pressure Hamas to come back to the negotiating table. And I hope and think, all signs point to Netanyahu not really wanting to fully capture the city of Gaza with all of the prices that entails.
And Professor, also this morning we saw the news that Prime Minister Netanyahu asked or announced that civilians should move to safer zones. Is there any safer zone left? Is he indicating to moving out of the Gaza Strip, or where is he indicating to it when he says move away from Gaza?
That's a good question. The general plan behind this new initiative is a plan that was suggested over a year ago by a former general named Gira Island. At that time, there were about 300,000 Palestinians in Gaza City and around the city. And what he proposed to do was to ask them to evacuate south of the Netzarim corridor and be in the south part of Gaza and not the northern part of Gaza. In the meantime, all those who would have remained in the north would probably be Hamas terrorists. However, things have changed. Today, there are no longer only 300,000 Palestinians there. There are about 1 million Palestinians. The plan is no longer feasible. It's not feasible at this time to ask for 1 million people to move south of the Netzarim corridor. This is one of the other reasons that it's hard for me to believe that this initiative, that this plan will actually take place.
Thank you very much, Professor Gilad Hirschberger, for joining us and sharing your insight all the way from Israel. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news.